Hello there. Here I am again, wanting to have a little conversation with you. This is a beautiful Sunday here in Springfield, Missouri, and my husband and I just got back from a worship service. And I thought, while I'm still dressed and not in my robe, which I like to slip into on a Sunday afternoon, I will make this video right quick. But I'm not going by the sheet of paper that I have that the students ask questions on. I thought I might talk to you just at random about things that kind of just come to me on a spur of the moment about World War II. I grew up during the time that things were very, very difficult in Germany, that we had the dictatorship of Adolf Hitler, that many people lived in fear of him, and that he started out as a do gooder, but then turned bad. And he had the people in place that would help him to go on doing the bad things. So all of Germany lived in fear. And the most fear was, of course, for the Jewish people that were taken away by trucks and other vehicles, and they were put into camps, which later, after the war was ended, we found out were concentration camps. And we were so shocked and so hurt by finding out what has happened to all these people. And we felt ashamed that this could happen right under our very noses, and we really didn't know about it. But it was fear that kept everyone's mouth shut that had an inkling or a know how about what was going on, because they were threatened with their own families during that time if they gave away anything that they shouldn't. So, to protect your family, you do everything you can. And this is how it happened to many people that worked in these places or were put to work in these places. They lived in fear, not just for their own lives, but also for their family's life, if they didn't do the things that were asked of them to do. What I remember as a small child is the fear I had when I went to school, because I lost a teacher that was either Jewish or part Jewish. And at first, when it all started, we saw the people walking around with golden stars on their coats and jackets and on their apartment doors and on the store windows that had a Jewish owner. And I thought that was so wonderful to have one of those beautiful stars. And I wanted to have one too. And my mom told me, no, since I wasn't Jewish, I could not wear one of those. And then I saw these people loaded on trucks and being taken away. And when they were taken away, I didn't see people walking around with stars on their jacket and coats or having stars on the apartment doors, because Adolf Hitler put them into those camps, which we found out after the war were concentration camps. So I saw all of this. I've had very little playtime as a little girl because we had the air raids going on and off during daytime and nighttime. And so my playtime was cut short. When I played with myself, with my dolls and my teddy bears, and at home. Very little time did I have downstairs with my friends, and I did have friends, but we didn't get together that often, just as much as we could. And the minute an air raid siren went off in the daytime that we were playing out back in our little air play area, we ran for the stairs because moms would come dashing down and we were running for the air raid shelter. What I remember also was the pump that I saw during that time. There were marching bands. The youth scopes were marching through the streets with blowing the trumpets and hitting the drums, and they were singing. And I loved music, so I was always standing there or looking out the window and watching all this pomp going by, because they were also having flag carriers that had these colorful the German flag that they carried, and then there were the drummers and all the musical instruments that make up a band. And it was colorful and it was beautiful. But these young boys and young girls were dressed in a uniform, in brown and black. The girls' black skirts with white blouses and a tie, and the the boys, black pants and kind of khaki type uniform, also with ties. They looked like little soldiers marching. But for me, it was fun to watch them. I didn't really know what power they were under that was making them do the things that they were doing, and they had to learn the things that they were learning. Most of all, Hitler's birthday, which I tell you today, I don't remember. I didn't learn it because when I was 10, it was close to the war coming to an end. It ended when I was 11. But I never learned the date of his birthday, nor do I remember it today. I remember my dad taking me to parades that he had to be there, and I didn't know that he was pushed to be there. But he had to also have the people that worked for him have to be there. And my dad took me along with him. And when I couldn't see the marching that was going on the street, my dad put me on his shoulder so I could see better. And I was fascinated by all the pomp that was going on because these soldiers that were marching and the marching bands were colorful, they're beautiful to see, and it demonstrated the way Adolf Hitler wanted it to be his power. He wanted to be a powerful man. And I remember it today, as old as I am. Didn't know it when I was young, that this was a demonstration of power. He wanted Germany to become a power in the world. I think now this man was a egomaniac. He wanted to be the ruler, actually, of this world. That's what I believe today happened because he had an ego. An ego means edging God out. But I sat on my dad's shoulders as a little girl with my hands in his curly hair to hold tight, and I watched the marching bands going by, and I enjoyed it. But I did not know that there were so many people standing around us by the thousands that were forced to be there, and they didn't enjoy because you don't enjoy being forced into doing something and then be threatened if you don't do it with your life or with imprisonment or your family to be hurt. Anything that can be used as a threat, Adolf Hitler used. And this is what I remember. I remember that out of every window, apartment buildings all around us, because we had on the outskirts of Berlin, we had the villas where the rich people lived, or maybe Adolf Hitler's people lived there. I don't know. But we lived in apartment buildings in the area where my mom and dad and I lived. And when we went to these parades that my dad was forced to go into, the apartment buildings around that area, every window had the German flag flying. And if it was a little bit windy, these flags were flying in the wind. And it also was a beautiful sight to see. Beautiful to see, but again, as a little girl, I did not know what was behind it, that everyone living behind these windows had to put out the flag. It was a must to put out the German flag, a sign of power. Also, the greeting that was given for Adolf Hitler, that was mandatory for so many to give in office buildings, in our schools, me entering a store, the Heil Hitler greeting, the Heil Hitler greeting. I hated to do that, so my mom didn't let me go to the store very often. She took over for me and kept me at home because I hated to give the silly greeting. But he took that over from the Romans. Hail Caesar, Heil Hitler. He really was an egomaniac. And my country, Germany, lived under fear, total fear. And when the war ended, came to an end, of course, then we were still under fear because we didn't know what was going to happen to us. But eventually order was coming into our country. And little by little, we pulled us together again and tried to snap out of all the bad that was our life and all the bad that the world saw in us. We were trying to become better and maybe make amends as best as we could. With this, my time, 15 minutes, is just about up. But I wanted literally just a talk between you and me, just at random. Whatever hit my mind, I wanted to tell you. And most of all, I will always tell you how grateful I am when I found out what it was like to have freedom. And I found this in America. The love of an American soldier brought me here, and with this, I received freedom. Freedom to be me. Freedom to grow old gracefully, with the help of God, but gracefully. So, if you're interested in hearing more, whether it is at random that I talk or whether it is something specific, please follow my video. Tune in. And with this, I will say, God bless you. And next time, dear friends, next time, let's talk a little bit more. Bye for now.